Hey y'all, just finished watching a really good and informative video. I took a bunch of notes that I want to share with y'all. It was a long one, so I'm breaking it down for y'all so you don't have to watch it. So it was all about an intelligent investor's road to $1 million. Okay, what he did, how long it took him to get there, how he got there. So basically, this guy, his name is Tom. He retired at the age of 43 years old from his 9 to 5 through savings and stock market investments. Okay. When he started out college at the age, I actually don't know when he started college, but when he started college, he had no money, $0. Then he graduated at the age of 23 years old. He majored in chemical engineering, so had a pretty good job. But Tom always felt like he wanted more. Like he didn't just want to work his 9 to 5. He wasn't just content there. Like he wanted to do more. He wanted more out of life. So there was a guy that was working with him. His name was James, and he was 61, and he was doing the same thing that Tom was doing when Tom was 23. Okay, so James is still there at 61. Well, this guy's there at 23 years old. So he's like, really, that made him open his eyes and be like, I don't want to be 63 and doing the same thing that I'm doing right now at 23. So he went through 3 stages, okay, to achieve his financial independence. And if he hadn't been investing and just relying on his engineering paycheck, his 9 to 5 job, he would have retired at around 57 instead of 43. So he just skipped a bunch of years by doing what he's doing. Okay. So step number 1 is how Tom went from $0 to $20,000. So this was around the age group of 23 to 25, and that's actually not a lot. That's literally only 22 years to go from 0 to $20,000. Like that's a big jump. So this is the getting started stage. So they say the beginning is the hardest stages because you're getting off your feet. You're starting from scratch. You're learning, you're growing. And the least amount of money you have, the harder it is to play with. The more money you have later on, the faster it is to grow. So he stumbled on a book called The Richest Man in Babylon, which I've listened to a bit of that. If you haven't heard of it, I definitely recommend that you read that book or listen to the audio. The girl's voice is very annoying, but nonetheless, it's a really good book. So basically what the book had taught him was to always pay yourself first. And a lot of people don't really follow that concept. They're like, what? Like they've never really heard of that, to be paying yourself first. So 10% of your salary before doing anything, you want to pay yourself 10%. So the stock market is where your savings can be turned into assets. He got his first 5,000 to 10,000 pretty quickly. But then he was doing something and it dropped by 60%. I don't remember what I wrote there. This was a freaking long video. But I don't know. Something dropped. But within that time, he became a learning machine. When anything that he was doing with his free time, that's what he was doing. He was always watching investing videos when he was like washing dishes, folding clothes, driving the car, going to the gym. He always had a podcast on. He always had something running. And I actually did this like several years ago when I was working in network marketing, which I was working at for 5 years. I changed my mindset completely. I learned a lot and I grew a lot in those years. I'm focused a lot on personal development, and instead of listening to music, because we consume music so much, but like it doesn't provide any value to us. So we're just consuming just all this wasted space. So instead of listening to music, I started listening to podcasts, and I started listening to like motivational stuff that I can actually learn from. So this is what he was doing. He was saving from his paycheck every month $1,000. Okay, from his pay at his job, he was saving $1,000 each month. He was doing trading, which he lost quite a bit of money in the beginning. That was that. I don't remember if it was in the first stage or the second stage, but he had a friend who he kind of trust, and he told him about this business idea. And once it goes public, like it could make them a lot of money. So his friend, I don't remember, he invested quite a lot of money into it, but he was scared because of all the research that he's done. Professionals had advised not to do, like, don't make any stupid rational decisions. So he's like, I'm just going to invest $500. And his friend was calling him a wuss, all this stuff, whatever. And then whatever, time went on. So now this is the second phase, where from $20,000 to $100,000, he learned to never interrupt compounding and compounding unnecessarily. His dad offered him $10,000 to, put towards a down payment of a house, but he was advised not to. So he declined that and continued to invest. He invested in Google, Microsoft, Walmart, when all that was very low in the beginning. So then he increased his savings from $1,000 to $1,500, and this time, which got him his $100,000 on his 29th birthday. So now skip to the third phase. So he zigzagged from his $100,000 to his actually no, before I go into that, sorry. So he was advised that is to rent as long as you can. That a house is a liability, and you want to acquire assets. A lot of people think like, okay, save, buy a house, but at the end of the day, it's true. A house is a liability. It's not like when you're renting, that's literally your only expense. When you have a house, there's so many things that come along with it, and that can happen, that can go wrong, that you need to have all this extra money. Anyways, so he's like, no, I'm not going to do the house thing. Also, the first $100,000 is hard, but you have to do it. You need to do whatever you can, even if that's like only eating off of coupons, literally missing out on things for a few years to sacrifice. If you've ever heard short-term sacrifice, long-term gain, you need to find a way to get to $100,000. After that, ease off the gas for a bit. So from his $100,000 then to $1 million. So the S&P 500 that he had invested in 50%. And he dropped from $100,000 to his $82,000. So he missed out, but you got to be patient and you got to stay consistent because things go up and down. So he had a wife at this point, and they were both working. So they had a baby. So they decided that they were going to buy a house. Mind you, he has a great investment now.